last time, I can feel that power in my hands. Beat of the drums rushing through my skin.
Bigger and better, get a move. We be doing it. Bigger and better, get a move. We be doing it.
Pipkins on the alley-oop pass. Then McKenzie to the rim, lays it in through the contact.
Thought we wasn't growing, but we grew, yo.
Pins for three. McKenzie is open, knocks it down. 5 on the shot clock. Del pass.
We've got a great game in store for you at Leicester's Morningside Arena. The Riders and the Sharks are both hitting their stride at just the right time and have high hopes of going deep in the playoffs. And with just 2 games of the regular season to go, both these sides want to finish strong. Welcome to Friday Night Basketball here on Sky Sports, which can mean only one thing. Drew Lasker, Kieran Achara present and correct. Good to see you both. And Drew, let's face it, these are 2 of the most informed teams in the BBL right now going head to head.
Both of these teams are hotter than fish grease, playing some of their best basketball as we head to the playoffs, and that's what you want, right? Tonight gives us a small appetizer of the postseason.
I'd like to think you're hotter than pitch grease as well, just to be clear on that. It's interesting when you look at Leicester's season, first of all, because this is a team that is used to riding high, that is used to winning stuff, but they're going into the playoffs without any silverware so far, which means they're going to be a dangerous proposition, aren't they?
I'm sure Coach Panorso is going to find his way to get these guys riled up and ready to go. So they are an exceptional team, but they've kind of been under the radar because of the dominance of London. But they have what it takes. They have a winning mentality, winning mindset, and a winning coach. I expect big things in the playoffs.
Sheffield are a fascinating team too, because they basically changed their MO and their direction mid-season, didn't they? And it's paying dividends.
So interesting to see Sheffield, because at the start of the season, a really slow, kind of composed team, and now they're playing really up-tempo, free basketball. They've unleashed their guards, allowing them to go wreak havoc on their opponents.
Certainly wreaking havoc. They have won 9 of their last 10. Leicester, as we suggested, in terrific form as well. They've 8 out of 10 wins. And that is exactly the same form the London Lions are in. They, of course, have locked down the title a few weeks back, so that means they are the #1 seed going into the playoffs. They're going to play either Plymouth or Newcastle in the first round, because the Patriots and the Eagles, well, they are scrapping to the death. Plymouth can lock it down tonight with a win against London, but if they lose to the Lions, as many people expect they will, then, well, it goes to Sunday and a play-in game between the two in Plymouth. And if the Eagles can win that game by 9 points or more, then they will be in. Leicester, well, they're battling Bristol for that 2nd seed. The Gladiators, they are locked in the 4th spot, whatever happens, which means that Cheshire, Sheffield, and Manchester are in the mix for 5th, 6th, and 7th, respectively. It's just the order that needs deciding. We got all that because there is going to be a test at half-time, Drew Lasker.
Absolutely. So you're saying my Newcastle Eagles have a chance, right?
Well, I'm saying that. What are you saying?
Absolutely, because we can say on record that the Plymouth Patriots aren't winning in London tonight. So we will revenge last season's loss on the final day of the season.
You heard it here first.
He went from a couple of weeks ago, they had no chance. So it's great to see that he's got a little bit of confidence now in his Eagles.
I'm a fickle fan.
I'm going to try and dig out that clip at halftime, and we'll drop that. Right, let's start by looking at Leicester in a little bit more detail. And, well, scoring hasn't been a problem for them at all. 2nd in the BBL, averaging over 88 points per game. But defensively, Kieran, do you think there's been a tangible regression year on year?
Definitely, hot and cold. They're renowned for being the top defensive team. They haven't been able to do that. They've been able to do it in spurts, but not consistently.
Aaron Menz is carrying a knock. He's not going to feature tonight, but it is a stacked lineup. Kimball, McKenzie, Zach Jackson's had a great season. Mark Loving as well. Carrington Love, a newer addition in the backcourt, settling in well. Darian Nelson-Henry, the skipper, another constant in their starting 5. Let's lead off with Patrick Whelan, who, Drew, I guess has become the focal point of this team in so many ways.
Yeah, and he's returning back from injury and getting a little bit healthy now. You can see he's starting to get his athleticism. He's beginning to get his lift on his shot, in which he's shooting 10 for 16 from the three-point line his last 3 games, paying off dividends.
Yeah, he's in great form, isn't he? Mark Loving always seems to be in great form, Kieran. Consistent, he's calm. As our friend Mike Tuck has told us many times, so difficult to guard as well.
Yeah, like I like to say, a hybrid player. There's a little bit inside, a little bit outside, but he is a real consistent player and a great addition to this team.
How's he taken his game to the next level this season?
I think he's bulked up a little bit. You know, got a little bit stronger, so he's bouncing off the contact a little bit more and able to finish around the rim.
Zach Jackson, another player like Patrick Whelan, dangerous from downtown. You've called him before the X-Factor player in this current Riders lineup.
I'm openly to admit this. He's my favourite player in this Leicester Riders team. Just an X-Factor, does everything right defensively, offensively. Great player, great person, Zach Jackson.
Kimball McKenzie, who I'm reliably informed had food poisoning this week, so hasn't trained, but he is, as you can see, ready to go tonight. What a season he's had. He's a long-time bench player, but that, I guess, is very much this Riders' MO, isn't it? When players like that are called upon, they always step up, they always deliver.
It's called being a professional, coming off the bench, starting where you need me, coach. I got you. And if there was a most improved player in this league, he would be up there for recognition.
Okay, some of the key protagonists from Leicester. What about Sheffield? Let's talk about this change a little bit more, Drew, to Sheffield's game plan. For much of the season, all about defense, edging, low-scoring, robust affairs, and then it all changed. Break it down for us.
Well, they've been known for their defense over the years, and they've been known for their lack of offense. But the thing I've been most impressed about them is they still get down and dirty on the defensive end, but now they can score the ball. They can run. They're playing modern basketball, and that's why they've won 9 out of 10.
They're on a roll, and a lot of that credit, of course, for changing things up has to go to this man, Atiba Lyons, who is the Kevin Cadle March Coach of the Month. And as you can see there, in his 15th season as the Sharks head coach, they don't come more experienced than this guy. Fascinating me because of that experience. He's not afraid to change things up, Kieran.
It's stone cold. If you see him, you know, he talks about how he had to make those adjustments and willing to make those adjustments, whatever it takes to get his team in winning ways.
How key is that experience going to be in the playoffs, the rough and tumble of the playoffs?
Well, he has 15 years of coaching under his belt, just what you need to have you lift the championship trophy.
Let's look at some of the players that are flexing, particularly offensively on court. Saeed Nelson, their top scorer. He's missed the last few games for Sheffield. A welcome return tonight, though he's not going to start. But looking a little bit further ahead, Drew, how key is he for their postseason ambition?
Oh, he's greatly important. Ramsey was the perfect addition for him because it allows Nelson to do what he do as a combo guard, be aggressive, score, and play make.
Devell Ramsey instrumental in that shake-up, proving to be one of their key players, Kieran.
Yeah, for a younger player, very experienced player. You know, he's played at elite levels as well and been a great humble addition to the Shark side.
Well, with Saeed Nelson out, a couple of big games for Kipper Nichols against Manchester and Cheshire in particular. He stepped up when they've needed him, and I guess more of the same tonight.
Speaking of professional, he's shown that as well. I was watching him closely when he got demoted to the bench. He stepped up to the plate, he didn't pout, and he's doing what the team needs, and it's helping them.
Given the fact they've brought this offense to, as Drew suggested, this really, really robust defense, they've got to be a serious contender for a deep run in the playoffs.
For sure. I remember the year they added Gerald Brooks, a guard, and they were kind of laying low in the league and then went on to win the playoffs. They are definitely a dark horse and can bring a real heat to this playoff matchup.
Looking at the overall playoff mix, I think it's fair to say it's maybe as tight as we can remember. You could put the Lions are obviously the favourites, but you could put a case for any of the other teams to have a deep run.
Yeah, I definitely believe so. The Lions are banged up at the moment as well, too. You know, a real tough European campaign, so that it's definitely open.
All right, then. We'll talk more about that, I am sure, as tonight's show progresses. But next up, let's catch up with both of tonight's coaches. Drew spoke with them a little bit earlier on.
Coach, congratulations on another great season, 24-10 in a very competitive league. You happy where your team has landed?
Yeah, you know, we struggled against London this year, obviously going 0-4 in the league, and that really put us in a tough situation to win the title. But after that, we've played pretty well. I mean, when you look at what we've done against other teams, I think we've got the head-to-head against everyone. Obviously, we've got this team to play tonight. We're 2-1 against them. So, yeah, you know, we battled a lot of stuff, too. You know, long season, injuries, etc., travel, schedule. So, yeah, when you're sitting up here with this kind of record in this league, you know you guys put some good work in.
And the Riders and consistency go hand in hand, champions or runners-up in the past 7 seasons. What is your ethos?
Look, we just try to get better, I think, and I know that's you know, a cliche, but we really try to just improve throughout the season. We want to make sure we have enough depth to get through the season. I think that's really important when you're dealing with the championship. You know, you have to have guys that can step in on the fly when there's injuries and still play well. But the bottom line is I've had some great players, but great players with good minds as well, smart.
And 8 wins out of your last 10 games, firing going into the playoffs. How important is momentum going into the postseason?
Yeah, it's important. I think, you know, it's important to be healthy. I think that's the first thing, right? We got to go into that the two-legged series, whoever we play, healthy. That's number one. But, yeah, we want to play good basketball, and I think, you know, we got an opportunity tonight to play at home again, play well here throughout the season, playing a good team. So tonight will be a good test and a fun one to play.
Atiba, what a turnaround. 9 wins out of your last 10 games. What's been the difference?
I mean, these guys have, you know, they've stuck with it. Mentally, we never dropped our head. We made a couple adjustments with DeVell and Jaylon in particular, which have been great for us. And the existing guys from the beginning of the season have just kind of hit their stride right now.
And it's all about the playoff push now. What's the team's mindset?
Just got to go out there and just approach like we have in the last few weeks. You know, play together, play hard defensively. We're still trying to get, you know, to improve our offense and our scheme a little bit. We've been pretty streamlined playbook, so we're just growing that a little bit as much as we can in the last couple games and going to play off for confidence.
And speaking of that updated roster, you got experience, young, talented, with vigor. How far can this team go?
Well, I think we've shown that we can beat anybody. You know, this league has been extremely tough this year, so, you know, everyone's playing such a good brand of basketball. It's going to be exciting.
And the Riders finished near the top once again. Just a quick word on their consistency over the years.
I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. They've retained the core of their team. They got depth, talent. They're a very high IQ team, so, you know, they find ways to win. You know, they're definitely a team everyone's chasing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
We talked understandably about the great form Sheffield have been in, and some big wins in that run as well. They've beaten Leicester, Manchester are a dangerous side. You look at the run that they've been on, it's not just the games that have been stacked up as wins, but it's the manner of the victory and the teams they've beaten.
Yeah, absolutely. They've beaten some very great teams 5 and up, and they've done it with their defense. During this 10-game winning streak, they're holding teams to about 64, 65 points, and that's always a recipe for success. We say defense wins championships, and they're getting it done on that end as well.
If we look at the head-to-heads with the two teams and staying on Drew's point, it is the number 2 defense in the BBL right now. Sakira, and how will Leicester look to try and break it down today?
I think, you know, just playing their basketball, you know, that Leicester don't take bad shots, but it's going to be a physical affair. So anything they can do to kind of keep the ball alive, get those second chance opportunities, that'll be a real plus for Leicester Riders.
And Drew, just quickly, the flip side of that, how will the Sharks look to break down the Riders' defense tonight?
The bench strength. You got Rodney Glasgow, you got Saeed Nelson coming off the bench, which is a little tough to table on the Riders side.
All right, then we are almost ready for tip here in Leicester. The Riders looking to roll into the playoffs and lay down a marker to the rest of the field. The Sharks, well, they want to keep their great run of form intact. Should be a cracker, and it's coming next.
This is BBL basketball.
Whelan all on his own for 3.
It's showtime.
Out to Nichols. Nichols with the two-handed throwdown.
It's another packed house here in Leicester, the last home game of the regular season, but the Riders, and indeed their opponents tonight, the Sharks, have their eyes firmly on the playoffs. So too to Abra and Dan. Wow, they give you fellas.
Well, not necessarily the last time these two teams meet as the referees cut through is there, because these two teams could line up again in the playoffs.
And I don't know if I'd want to play the other team if I was the other team. This is a rivalry that has stemmed over the last decade, a lot of close encounters and a few upsets in there as well.
Well, let's take a look at the starting fives for tonight's game, starting with the Leicester Riders and that backcourt. Whelan coming back to full form after his toe injury. Love finding his feet in this team, really looking good in recent weeks.
You don't know what you got till it's gone, and Whelan is a prime example of that. You see him in form now, and he brings so much value to this Riders team, and Carrington Love. They've been patient with him, and boy is he producing now.
And at the other end of the floor, we talk about Leicester's backcourt, but the change in this team when Ramsey and Pipkins joined them.
Credit to Coach Atiba Lyons. He always seems to tinker and find a way. Pipkins has brought that athleticism and energy, and Ramsey, he is just that guy, 100% both ends of the floor.
Well, Sheffield have been very interesting up and down this season. Our three officials out there, crew chief Ed Udansky was in Gran Canaria midweek doing a Euro Cup game. Can't be bad.
We have a really strong refereeing team today, so I know there's not going to be too many questions from me today.
You say that now. You say that now. Famous last words as we get ready to go. Two guys who came into the league at the same time as head coaches, Rob Paternostro and Atiba Lyons. Two of the most experienced around going head to head. And as I say, the playoffs around the corner. And both these will feel they have a shot at going all the way to the O2. It is Sheffield who get us underway with the first possession of the ball. Here's Nichols, back in the starting lineup, having come off the bench for a few weeks. Ramsey from the elbow, knocks it down.
Oh, it's a really good shot. It's a tough shot, well contested. I don't think there's going to be too many easy shots here for either team tonight. Good play there from Ramsey.
Here's Love. Nelson Henry at the foul line, kicks to Whelan in the corner. Back iron on that one.
Oh, two shots so far in this game have both been heavily contested, but it's the Riders coming up empty with it on their first occasion.
Nichols. Here's Ramsey now, good look for three, and an easy rebound for Nelson Henry. Love trying to find a gap in the lane, getting all the way to the basket for the first score.
That's just excellent guard play there. As you can see, Carrington Love has that ability to slow things down, then speed it up. And Bennett Cook chasing him there. Very little chance of catching that point guard in the paint.
Here's Nichols. Pipkins, late in the shot clock. Needs to go up here. Nichols has to fire. Doesn't get it off in time. It's a 24-second violation.
Really strong defensive structure there from the Leicester Riders. Nothing easy there. And as I predicted earlier, I don't think there's going to be a lot of those, free points per se. But Sharks have to increase their movement there. The offense was rather stagnant. Ball stayed on the perimeter. There was no real penetrating cuts there, which made things a little bit easier there for that Riders defense early.
Love down low to Nelson Henry. First time the two bigs have gone head to head, and it's going to be a foul on Bennett Cook.
That's a really interesting matchup. Two guys there with plenty BBL experience, 6'11" guys, very similar in stature, and even the way they play, they're both very patient and use their footwork and finesse down low to score the basketball.
Cook tends to have a good game when he comes here. Remember, was it the trophy game earlier this season when when Sheffield beat Leicester here? He was excellent in the first quarter. He's had a number of good games in this building.
when they start to go to him early now and stay with him for a lot longer periods, I think his numbers this year, 10 points, 4 rebounds a game, I'm surprised when I look at that, because I feel like he's had a lot more big games this year, Bennett Cook. So his numbers still very underwhelming to that degree, but he's only playing 20 minutes of basketball.
Here's Nichols. Ramsey. Now it's Cook's turn to go against Nelson Henry. Late in the shot clock, though, and that one bobbles out for him, and a rebound for Loving. Well, Drew Lasker has joined us in commentary. It's nothing easy so far for either team here, Drew.
No one takes more pride on the defensive end than both of these teams. 72-64 last time these guys faced off. I look for another low-scoring game here tonight.
Oh, good luck for Loving, but that one rims out. Pipkins around the screen. Size mismatch here for Cook. Kicked out to Pipkins for 3. And just short on that one. Good work from Cook to tip it down. Pipkins with the circuit shot. What a finish.
And that's the athleticism Pipkins brings. If he's not dunking on someone, he's having an acrobatic finish like that with a left hand. Here it is before. Look at that. Cuts down. Doesn't even need to dribble the basketball. His air time and athleticism takes him all the way to the rim for the finish.
Well, a mistake by the Riders on the inbound. Gives Sheffield the ball back. Nichols in the key. Rattles out. Jackson trying to find some room. Down to Loving. Loving onto Nelson Henry. Sells the fake and finishes.
It's a smart play there from Nelson Henry. Even though he has the size advantage there with a flying Pipkins coming in from behind him, that pump fake there allows him an easy open layup and a good look inside there from Loving.
Looking for room. Again, they're late in the shot clock, and he knocks it down.
Nice move by Pipkins there as he gets in the paint and hits a little NJ fadeaway 10-footer. Nice move there.
Love trying to find Nelson Henry, but throws it straight to Ramsey. Rotino has space here for 3. Oh, he misses everything. Very unusual.
It was an excellent contest there from Nelson Henry, who didn't run straight back to the paint like a lot of big men do. He went to the shooter, and had he not done that, I think that's a knockdown 3 for Rotino.
Nelson Henry has to give it back out to Love. Inside to Loving. Spinning. Needs to go up. Extra pass. Jackson in the corner gets it away. Off the rim.
That's beautiful basketball that perhaps warranted the basket. That one extra pass goes from getting a good shot to a great one, but Zach Jackson can't knock it down.
Nichols with the turnaround, all strength.
And I mentioned it before, Kipper Nichols gets to his sweet spot there. Gives a little dream shake, fades to that baseline corner.
Love with the quick step all the way to the hole again.
Harrison Love's good form and carrying over into this game. Prior to that, he had a turnover, but he makes amends straight away there again. It's his ability to get in the key and finish the play.
Well, turnover by Nichols here. Love gives it back to Loving, who tried the jam. He's fouled by Nichols and will shoot 2.
Wow, almost got ourselves a highlight early in this game, and it's off the turnover. This Sheffield Sharks don't do that a lot. They average the least amount of turnovers per game, and it's Loving and Carrington Love attacking. Kipper Nichols he does a good enough job to foul just hard enough where it's not an and one, and more importantly for him, not a poster.
Well, Kipper Nichols was very lucky not to end up on my Instagram feed this evening. But more impressively was the pass from Carrington Love. We see guys get the ball in that position and they got to take a dribble. It was almost like a hot potato back to Loving. Great 2-man game right there.
And that's what we perhaps should have saw as experts in this game and analysing week on week. Carrington Love has a slow start to his BBL career scoring-wise, but he averages 6.3 assists per game in 20 minutes. That's really difficult to do in 35 minutes a game, averaging 6 assists, let alone in 20 minutes. So he's always had that potential to be able to distribute to his teammates, but now he's coming to the party and scoring himself, and now he's got that double-edged sword in that his offense is so much more broader.
Here's Nelson to the finger roll off the mark. Be interesting to see how many minutes Nelson plays coming off the back of that injury that's kept him out the last few weeks.
Well, you can already see it there, not able to move his feet there as he put 2 hands on the offensive player, and that's a foul all day. And we know about the speed and quickness of Saeed Nelson, so maybe that injury is lingering just a little bit.
I mean, he's the type of player that you'd want to input in the game as soon as possible, because you need him in the playoffs. He's going to be a guy that's going to give you that added scoring ability in the playoffs. So, you know, for games like this, you want to thrust him in and just try and hope he finds some type of rhythm going into knockout basketball.
Well, we know this time of year, guy, no one's 100% healthy, and this is the type of game where you can fill him out, see what he can offer you as we move forward to the postseason.
Foul called as that was knocked away from Adekoya, and it's Pipkins who scored for it.
Yeah, Pipkins just reaching in there, doing what Adekoya does to a lot of people.
Yes, exactly.
Looking for that steal.
Well, first 4 fouls of the game, all on Sheffield. Here's Love from behind the arc, back iron on the 3. Leicester yet to make one from behind the line.
And if there's any fault in Carrington Love game, it is beyond the arc, but everything else, he's stellar in distributing the ball, getting to the paint, finishing, really beginning to find his feet for the Leicester Riders here.
Again, Sheffield low numbers on the shot clock. Latino getting to the rim, denied by Jackson.
It's Zach Jackson, Mr. Consistent. Here he is, the other end of the floor, and finishes the play.
Turning his own defense into offense. Just got there before that hit the backboard. And he's quick to score. Not loose illegally so by Love, and that's going to be his and Leicester's first foul.
I pick up a foul there, Dan, but I like the intensity. And I like setting the message to the opposition as well. We're going to be here all night, making things very difficult for you. Again, this is a Sharks team that don't often turn the ball over. And on a different given night with a different set of referees, they may have got away with that one.
Foul called off the ball on Evan Walsh, who's fresh into the game. Just holding on to Delpesh.
And what a second half of season that Evan Walsh is having, really seeing more opportunity, getting his number called, and really stepping up.
They couldn't do much about Delpesh there.
It's a tough mismatch for Evan Walsh there, but you know, I definitely echo Drew's comments there. That's an example of a British player being put on one of the best rosters in the league and finding a way to earn minutes, but not only play minutes, make a difference.
Mackenzie's pass is easily read. Here's Glasgow to the runner off the iron. Walsh is kind of on his own here, so has to slow. Adekoya steps into the 3. That one rims out. Leicester 0 of 5 now. 4, sorry, from behind the arc. There is Adekoya right on cue. Reaching in to try and knock one away. That time he's called for a foul.
But the great thing about both of these teams that I'm noticing early in this matchup is that they're both doing a great job of getting back on defense and transition in particular, as Saeed Nelson knifes his way to the basket for 2. And when you get into the playoffs, you got to make teams work for everything, earn everything. And the last thing you want to do is give them fast break layups, and both teams are doing a great job of eliminating that so far tonight. Mackenzie, there's a little reach in. Well, that count, it didn't go in. It'll be the
5th foul on Sheffield anyway, so it's 2 free throws either way.
Kimball McKenzie there just staying aggressive, and I think that's what the emergence of Carrington Love's done as well. But McKenzie is playing the point guard position for a lot of the season. He's not a natural pass first point guard. He's a really good scorer and an intelligent basketball player, but I don't think he's a natural passer. And the vision there from Carrington Love will certainly help McKenzie in that he can focus on his strength, and that's scoring the basketball.
Wow, McKenzie off the mark. McKenzie is a 90% free throw shooter this season. There's only a handful of guys, I think it's 11, who have ever gone through an entire season shooting at 90% plus from the free throw line. He might just be blowing his chances with a late miss there.
Yeah, he's only missed 12 free throws before that shot on 131 attempts, which is really impressive, and a guy you want to be on the line late in ball games when the game is tied or close.
Here's Loving getting into the key and blowing the layup.
He's done the hard part, isn't he? It's excellent ability there to close gaps.
And Nichols all the way to the basket.
Such a nice little drive by Kipper Nichols, showing that he's more than just a post guy. He backhands off the glass nice and softly.
McKenzie with a pull-up 2. Long rebound comes all the way back to him. Now he takes the triple, and that's off the mark, but Walsh will keep it in play. Loving checks his feet, and eventually they get through.
You take enough good shot, they'll drop eventually, and especially on your own court. And that extra pass there gives the time and space for Mark Loving to really think about that one.
Whelan commits the foul they had to give, so that'll be a sideline ball.
Really smart foul there. As Saeed Nelson was sizing him up, and he was in go mode, as we call it, when a player's getting ready to head downhill. So now Sharks got to start over and take the ball out here from the sideline.
Jackson will return to the game. Patrick Whelan sits down for the first time. Here's Nelson, long 2, off the iron, and Walsh will get the rebound. The buzzer will sound, and as you would expect between two teams who are winning a lot of games right now, this one is very much in the balance, pretty much score for score through the opening quarter here in Leicester. It's the Riders by 2. We'll have the second quarter after this break. Welcome back to the Morningside Arena in Leicester, where the Riders lead the Sharks by a couple here. And it is a Leicester possession to start us in the second quarter. Remember, victory for Leicester will guarantee them second, or defeat for Bristol. But the defeat for Bristol bit is not going very well as far as Leicester are concerned. Bristol are up 17 against Surrey. Lovely hits for three.
Well, it's the same spot as where he hit the first three-pointer of the season for the Riders, and Sheffield Sharks have to acknowledge that and run him off the line.
Delpesh looking for options. Going on his own and missing everything.
Great defense there by Adekoya, forcing him into a tough shot.
Whoa, Shura stepping his way to the hole.
He's always been excellent in the fast break situation, even back in his Surrey days, and now he's got a little bit more experience and control in his game, which makes him even more devastating in the open floor.
Ramsey. Turnaround from Nichols. Rebound Jackson. Well, nobody stops the ball, so Jackson just goes all the way for a left-handed layup.
Exactly that. Leicester Riders look to push the ball here in the second quarter and getting some easy buckets in transition.
23 points to 14, the Leicester Riders lead here. We talked about Carrington Love and how he's adjusted to life in Leicester earlier. Drew caught up with him.
Carrington, you're averaging 15 in your last 4 games. What's clicked for you?
Just chemistry with the guys. You know, a lot of reps in practice, feeling comfortable, knowing coaches' sets and the guys around me. I think that's pretty much it.
And it's obviously taking you a little time to adjust. What are your thoughts now on the British Basketball League?
It's a fast-paced game. You got to have guys going to battle with you every night. Chemistry and rest is a big deal with back-to-back schedules, but I like it.
And with the playoffs right around the corner, what's the mindset of the squad?
Going in high, you know, trying to stay clicking at the right time in late April, leading into May. I think that's what we're trying to do.
And the Sharks are hot just like yourselves. What's your thoughts on them?
We got to slow them down, getting to the rim. They got a lot of guards from getting the lane, and be solid. You can't turn the ball over this team. You can't put them on the free throw line. They're a really good free throw shooting team.
Thanks for your time.
All right.
Well, his first 13 games for Leicester, he had 1 where he scored in double figures. The last 4, he's had 3 in double figures, and the other one was 9. He's certainly putting the ball in the basket more regularly by himself, as well as we've already talked about the assists that he's been handing out.
Yeah, and I was starting to get a little bit concerned about his offensive input, but we have to remember he was brought here in January and hadn't played anywhere all season. And if you know, you don't get in shape by doing anything else, by playing basketball. And so it just took him a little time to find his legs, and he's hitting it right at the right time.
Here's Cook traveling with it, a shuffle of his feet.
Yeah, Danny Cook was trying to force the issue there. Excellent double team there from the Riders. Mark Levin come over, perfect timing of the double team. But what it done is it forced Bennett Cook into forcing the shot, which results in a turnover.
Well, I think Sheffield got a warning there. I think the reaction of the assistant coach, Marko Bakovic, was a bit more than the referee was happy with. McKenzie back to Adekoya. Passes a little bit high, and Jackson can't quite get up and catch it.
Yeah, uncharacteristic. Off the mark there from Adekoya. Usually a really good pass through the basketball. That one was pretty high. Aaron Menzies might have been able to got that one. 7-3.
Yeah. Menzies out at the minute with an ankle problem. They could do with him getting back fit before the playoffs start next week. Glasgow late in the shot clock again. Fires up and knocks it down.
Again, some fantastic defense from the Leicester Riders, but a guy who's been playing at a high level as of late, calling him Mr. Clutch, is Rodney Glasgow.
Nice pass and a good finish by Bob Lovin.
You see the contrast of the way the two teams are scoring the basketball. Leicester Riders get a lot of easy points in the paint. Sheffield Sharks are not. Everything is turnaround jump shots, contested jump shots. This is the team that averaged the least amount of points in the paint per game, and Sharks have to work so hard to score the basketball. It's not sustainable.
Well, Cook, who is their main scorer in the paint, hasn't really had many touches yet. He's had one shot. Loving for three. They've had a couple rattle out like that, Leicester.
And that's a shot that Mark Loving can definitely make, especially after already cannon two from the left side corner. And
that's going to be an illegal screen on Bennett Cook.
Well, the worries continue here for the Sheffield Sharks. This offense is completely dried up and lost its rhythm, and that's a concern, I would say, at the Sharks. They've had a remarkable second half to the season, so much so that their record is completely 180, but their offensive production hasn't at times. They still sit last at points per game in the league. They still sit last at second chance opportunities, points in the paint, so it's still a work in progress. The offensive end is still work in progress for the Sharks team.
Well, there is Aaron Menzies. We talk about his absence. He has been giving them some good minutes off the bench in recent weeks as well, before that ankle injury. They'll be desperate for that extra firepower. Here comes Loving for the jam.
And it's straight down the middle. There was no resistance from the Sharks defense, and Loving with a left hand done.
Well, Cook has just sat down. He's the first player in the game to get to 2 fouls. He might well have been in that sort of position prior to that. Here's Delpesh. Goes to the spin, blocked by Nelson Henry. Jackson is bombed. Doesn't go, but he will shoot 2.
Wow. And Leicester Riders getting whatever they want. If they're not scoring, they're getting to the line. And this is the block of the play before. Nelson Henry, excellent timing. And how many times have we seen this already this game? Zach Jackson, before you blink, he's down the other end attacking the rim.
Well, a good start to the second quarter for the Leicester Riders. 12. Well, I think they're going to wave that free throw off and make him take it again because there was a substitution coming in. So it's 11-2 here in the second quarter. Not quite as good a second quarter as London have had. 32 points to 8 they outscored Plymouth in the second quarter, and they are 53-24 ahead at halftime. So as Jackson misses both, he'd have rather the sub didn't come in there. So that Sunday game is looming large through.
No surprise here. Like I said at the top of the show, London will take care of business, and this is going to come down to the final day. Newcastle Eagles need to win by 9 as Delpesh hits the nice hook to get the Sharks off the mark. And all I got to say is, my Eagles, what you got, baby? Here we go.
Well, a few weeks ago, it didn't look likely. Even Drew had written them off. But it looks eminently possible now for Mark Stoodle and his team. Ripped away. Great steal by Nelson. And he lays it in for 2.
Riders got to be careful here, and Rob Paternoster senses that you don't want any types of runs here, and Saeed Nelson there off the steal out to the races, easy basket.
Well, a bit of a closing of the gap here, and DeVille Ramsey, another new guy this last few months, just into life in Sheffield, and he spoke to Drew.
DeVille, 3 months as a Sharks. Your thoughts on how the team is improved?
I feel like, we just get after it. I came to a team, that had a good culture defensively and stuff like that, and I just thank the coach for trusting me and, getting after it. Our guys, just been really good and helping each other out and just turn the season around.
And speaking of the coach, what's been his message in the recent weeks?
It's more so at this point, just do what we do, It's like we feel like we can compete with anyone on the court. If we just play our game plan and just follow our rules, we'll be fine.
And you guys come in hot. Looking at the playoffs, do you feel like you're one of the teams to beat?
For sure. We had a good run the last month or two, and we just feel like we're moving the right way towards playoffs.
And another team that's hot is the Leicester Riders. Your thoughts on them?
Yeah, they're a great team. Obviously been playing good all season, and we just want to come in here and play the game the right way, and do what we do. And I feel like everything else take care of itself.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, they made a slow start to this quarter, but a couple of good plays here in the last minute or two, particularly being able to get a steal, get out in the open court. These cheap points, these were points they weren't scoring early in the season.
Exactly, and a lot of that has to do about their personnel. They got thoroughbreds who can get up and down the court, and as you mentioned there, when we get to this part of the season, you have to be able to score easy buckets to get your confidence going, because everyone has played each other 4 times. We know your identity. We know what you like to do. So it's nice to get those easy, cheap baskets.
Jackson driving hard. Good up and down from Delpesh. Here's Pipkins. He's looking to attack, and he hammers down the jab.
Pipkins coming down the lane looking like a jackhammer.
Goodness me, it's like hide your women and children. He's so aggressive. Looks like an assault on the rim when he dunks that basketball.
Well, Whelan goes down. It's another turnover.
Uh-oh.
Leicester thought, oh, he didn't check the windmill.
Oh, no. The highlight, the play before, and then the blooper, the play after.
Well, turnover, and then goes for the exclamation point and blows it.
Well, by the time he was coming down, he was still winding on that windmill. So I think that jackhammer to play before kind of took it out of him.
Goodness me. It's like on a video game, you know, with the energy bars. He used it all up. You can't do that again.
No more turbo left there, Coach. Do we have a not-so top 10 plays of the week?
Well, that is the number one of it. Ramsey called for the foul.
We always look for pivotal points in the game, and look, maybe it's a nothing and nothing ever happens for it, but sometimes one play that can just instill energy in everyone else, and the confidence comes, and a run happens, a 10-0 run, you open a game wide open, make the opposition a little bit nervous.
Love driving hard to the hole. Well, there's a game here early in the season where Paddy Wang did something very similar and missed the dunk, and then Leicester pulled away.
This game has always have been about momentum.
Nelson through the contact will shoot 2.
He's always been excellent at getting to the free throw line, Nelson. That's why he leads the Sheffield Sharks in scoring, because he is someone who can get easy baskets, i.e. get into the line, because of his ability to create for himself and get fouled.
Oh, I gave the London score. I didn't give the Bristol score. 48-32, they lead Surrey at halftime. So both those games going clearly to form.
Yeah, Bristol is definitely the surprise of the season. I don't think anyone would have predicted them finishing second or third. I know, Dan, you're sitting there ready to...
Where did you predict them?
I just gave you that alley-oop. Shame on me.
Drew's just tired of everyone attacking him. He's just attacking himself. Self-sabotage from Drew Lasker.
But a major shout out there to Coach K down there in Bristol, and putting together a great roster that's led by VJ King, and they've been consistent all year long. We thought with their top-heavy home schedule that they would struggle when they got on the road, but has had no let-off.
Well, King currently out injured. We're expecting him back for the playoffs, and that will be, as you say, Drew, a huge part of what they might do in the postseason. He's been excellent this year. Adekoya along the baseline, trying to get stuck, but finds a way out, and there's a foul call.
Oh, good maneuver in there, and strength and patience from Adekoya there. See Ramsey just reaching in.
His second personal foul. So Glasgow will return. That's uncharacteristically poor from the free throw line so far tonight. That is their 4th miss of the game, and they are number 1 in free throw shooting percentage this season. The only team above 80%. They are over 3.5 percentage points better than the next best. Delpesh with the hook, and he got bumped, so he'll shoot 2.
A bad foul there just because Delpesh was so far away from the basket. He's a very capable scorer, but he tends to do a lot of his work in and around the basket. Mark Lubman that bumped a little bit too aggressive there.
Well, Delpesh is one of those odd players whose field goal shooting percentage is almost as good as his free throw shooting percentage. His field goal percentage is only 51%, which sort of tells you about his free throw shooting percentage. And he misses both. That's an ambitious pass from Love. Here's Delpesh where he is more comfortable. That one doesn't go.
Sharks are struggling. Points in the paint. Easy baskets are around the basket. Can't convert.
Loving misses from behind the arc. 2 to play here in the first half. Leicester leading by 7. Sheffield trying to do something about that. Shot clock down to 6 as Glasgow throws up the runner and gets the friendly roll.
It's another excellent defensive set though from the Riders. Really good rotations defensively, good reactions, and it's Rodney Glasgow Jr. with an incredibly difficult running floater to break the drought.
Jackson to the spin and foul on Rotino. He seems a little frustrated. His arms went down in the first instance.
Yeah, good play here from Zach Jackson. That's why Jackson's been so effective this year. He scores the ball in a number of ways, whether that's hitting the open 3, in the post, in transition. He's been that guy really where there's not a bad place on the court for him on the offensive end.
Well, 1:31 to go here in the first half. Leicester leading 30-25, and both teams will feel that offensively there is room for growth here in the second half. Leicester not shot the ball as well as we usually see them from the three-point line or the free throw line, and you talked about Sheffield not getting as many close range efforts, not getting as many touches for Cook inside or for Delpesh either.
No, and I kind of wanted to talk about that with you, Dan. You know, you're a big anti-offensive rebound guy.
That is not true.
Sheffield Sharks are last in offensive rebounds per game. I cannot help but make a strong claim here. If they were higher in the offensive rebounds per game, their offensive production would be greater and they would be a better offensive team.
Well, part of the reason that part of the benefit of being last in offensive rebounds per game is that they don't give up as many fast break points because they get back and play defense. Some of that is a tactical thing, is if you don't go crashing the rebound, you don't get beaten the other way, and that is it's part of the game as well. I agree with you. I'm not totally anti-offensive rebounds. You need a few.
I kind of feel that you are at times, Dan.
I just feel like you need to make the first shot. That would be my take.
But Sheffield Sharks are shooting 44%. They're closer to the bottom than they are to the top in field goal percentage. There's offensive rebounds there to be grabbed by the big guys, by the wings, and they're not capitalizing on it.
I won't disagree with that.
Wow. You wait the whole season. You wait the whole season.
That one statement. Minute and a half to go here. Leicester by 7.
Last regular game of the season on Sky Sports, and Dan Ratledge gets a half agreement.
I'm in coasting it mode, mate. Ready for the playoffs. Getting ready for the playoffs. I won't let you away with such slander next week. pass is deflected away. Jackson comes out with it. Trying to thread the needle, but Pipkins is there.
Oh, good recovery there from Pipkins, but it's Sharks. They've got to look after the basketball. That's one thing they've done really, really well at this year is turnovers or not turning the ball over. That's 7 for them now. They average 12 per game, so they're a little over on pace for their average.
Jackson looking for options. Has it knocked away once a foul doesn't get one. Sheffield have numbers. And they lost Nichols in the key, and he makes them pay.
He will make them pay all evening if he gets those open mid-range jump shots. And there's been very few breakdowns from this Riders defense. Again, I've been commenting on the deficiencies of the Sharks offense, but this Riders defense has been very, very tight today.
Adekoya gets to the mid-range. A little short on that one, and shot clock is off as Sheffield look to make it a one-possession game going into halftime.
They've hung around, haven't they? A strong finish here and back in it.
McKenzie, similar to Whelan in the first quarter, committing a foul just to throw Sheffield off the rhythm, force them to the side. Leicester have committed, I think it's 9 fouls on 9 different people, or is it 8? Nobody's got 2, that's for certain. Nelson to inbound, gets it into Glasgow. Glasgow down to Delpesh, stumbling his way through, that will count. Foul is called, and Delpesh will go to the line for a bonus.
It's a big play, it's a gutsy pass as well. They've turned the ball over a few times trying to pass it inside, but the pass was on the money, and Delpesh's strength and focus to be able to finish that play. Wow.
Well, you can see Leicester with Whelan in the background asking the question about a travel. The referee's happy with it. Delpesh can't convert the three-point play. Walsh is going to throw from three-quarter court, and that will do it for a tight first half. Leicester did briefly get away. I think there's a warning for Leicester on the way out. Still complaining about the potential travel on that final play. We just keep an eye on what's going there. You can see Rob Paternostro, he said too much. He's got a technical now, and they need to really take him away. Well, he's not happy. So the second half will start with a free throw for Sheffield before we get back underway, and it's still going on. Let's take a look at the numbers here in the first half, and well, the three-point shooting, nothing to write home about, just 2 for 13 between them, and the free throws not very good either.
No, it's not been the shooter's gym, is it, today, but it's been a combination of reasons. Leicester Riders have been getting good looks as well, so I think Paternostro will be happy with that, the quality of shots they've got. Sharks, on the other hand, they haven't shot very many, and everything's been heavily contested. Nothing easy for them on the perimeter.
Well, 12 points, 4 rebounds from Mort Loving in the first half, and here's Woodrow.
Mark, in a game where offense is hard to come by, 12 points personal for yourself. How were you able to shake loose?
My teammates put me in good position to find good shots, and I was able to knock them down. I've been receiving some good screens, and we've been moving the ball pretty well.
And defensively, you guys been impressive. How have you been able to keep that 3-guard monster of Glasgow, Nelson, and Ramsey at bay?
Yeah, they play at their own pace, so you got to kind of speed them up if you can, and apply pressure and just play as hard as you can to be physical.
And you guys can clinch second place with this. 20 minutes of basketball remains. Where do you guys need to tidy things up at?
I mean, our offense could be a lot crisp. We're winning right now, but 32 points isn't enough for our standard, and hopefully we can come up with some stops on defense.
Appreciate your time, Mark. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
He had a big first half, scored the most points of any player on the court, but as he suggested in that interview with Drew, there needs to be a lot more from the Riders, and both offenses, reaction and analysis coming next. Now, if you've just dropped in and this is the first thing you're seeing, you would think that this was a freewheeling, high-scoring affair. Zach Jackson, Kimball McKenzie getting involved, Mark Loving for the Riders, and Jalen Pipkins laying stuff down for the Sharks. But 32-29, forget the highlights there, a much more low-scoring, attritional affair, Kieran.
I'd like to say a great defensive effort by both teams thus far.
It's the Sheffield Sharks we know and love, right? Well, let's talk about that, because we spent much of the pre-game hyping up this all-new Sharks offense. Why hasn't it turned up so far?
They just missed a lot of bunnies, a lot of easy shots, missed a few free throws, obviously haven't made the 3-point shots as well, so they just haven't completely clicked offensively just yet.
I guess the exception to that rule, flashes anyway, Jalen Pipkins. He had an eventful first half. I think he was the brightest spark for the Sheffield Sharks, and this highlight reel we're going to see here, I think instrumental and indicative of the half that he had.
Yeah, I just think he's an aggressive player. He's brought a spark to this Sheffield Sharks team. Super aggressive, always attacking the basket. You see here, just down the lane, that is absolutely disgusting.
Well, if that was absolutely disgusting, what are we calling this?
That is disgusting.
Can't win them all, Jalen, I'll tell you what. That was back-to-back plays as well. But it really was, obviously a highlight reel is going to be indicative of a player's first half, but that was very much the case, wasn't it? At times on song, chiming, at times just misfiring, and the same could be applied for the Leicester Riders. And Mark Loving in particular, saying he hit from downtown, hit a three, the first player to do so in the whole game, and then he started getting on a roll and started to find his groove, but he couldn't sustain it.
Yeah, he got a couple of threes early, so he went 2 from 2, then missed a couple after that. But he has been one of the players who gets these spots. He finds a way of getting open. Now, I always talk about the Leicester Riders taking good shots. He makes good shots because he gets open. He's great timing, great spacing. And again, 12 points, 12 big first half points for the Leicester Riders.
Just to follow that through, when Loving was getting hot, you thought, okay, the Riders are going to run away with it. And they built a big lead up in that second quarter. But the Sharks clawed back. Why weren't Leicester allowed to run away with it? What did Sheffield do defensively to stifle them?
They got steals. They limited the offense of the Leicester Riders. And that's it. Saheed Nelson, Ramsey, they're active players, they're disruptors, completely in the passing lanes all the time, looking to get those steals, and really slowed and limited the Leicester Riders offense.
At the end of the first half, as the game had finished and broken for the half, we saw Coach Rob Paternostre getting a technical, and it's interesting when you see the passion that Rob Paternostre, and he always has passion, of course, but I was looking at that first half and it was quite a scratchy, scrappy affair, and you're thinking, well, both teams are in the playoffs. Sure, they're going to play for high seeds, but is that why it's a little bit low-key? Because the players have got their eyes on the playoffs and perhaps not on tonight, and then you see that kind of energy and passion and you realise there's a huge amount riding on the game.
And that's what makes Rob so unique. No matter what, he's always demanding perfection. He wants the guys to get better. So as long as he's motivated, the people stay motivated.
Yeah, I'm certain that he will be sharing that passion with his players at the half, as will Atiba Lyons, who has had a brilliant month, as we suggested earlier on in the show. The Coach of the Month for March, and that is, of course, an award that is named after the late, great Kevin Cadle. Kevin was an absolute giant of the sport, achieved huge success with his Kingston team in the late 80s and early 90s. And in 1992, they completed a clean sweep for the second time in just 3 seasons. Let's remember that.
Kingston going for their 5th trophy. They did it 2 years ago, and they're going for it again this year.
Giving Kingston another go at the offense.
And quite strong there, Al, because he got touched as he went through. Nigel Lloyd. Pete to his left. Goes alone and makes it count. And here's Miller, and at the moment they've gone to sleep. The Tigers, Miller gets 2 more, and the Kingston fans rise to that. 13 points to lead. Crisis point here for the Thames Valley Tigers. It's been one-way traffic.
Tigers keep on riding. Here we go. Yes. Knew that was coming.
So, Adrian Cummings, who's had such a good match, moves into double figures now and finishes it with a dunk. 7. Into the last 3 seconds, the last shot from Alan Cunningham. But Kingston have taken British basketball onto a new level. For the second time in 3 years, they've won 5 trophies.
And let's remember that great team with Dan Routledge and Ant Rowe. Dan, they really were one of the all-time great British basketball teams, weren't they?
Yeah, you just look at some of the players out on court. Alan Cunningham, Colin Irish, Alton Bird, Ross Saunders, Cole Miller, goes on and on and on. Incredible team led by an incredible coach. They essentially only lost 1 meaningful game in 3 years, that team. And they were flying the flag in Europe. Everything we've seen London Lions do this year, Kingston did before, and even did it at even higher level. Just an incredibly great team in British basketball history.
And Kev Cadle's charisma shone through with everything he did, turning his hand to broadcasting after coaching as well. I know you worked with him very closely over the years and spent, I think, many a post-game show in the hotel bar where Kev would regale you with stories for hours, wouldn't he?
Nobody could tell a story better than Kevin. He was just a great raconteur, and he had stories for days about trips to Greece or to Israel and the games they'd won and the things that happened. He was a tremendous character.
And Anne, I guess you knew that we were dropping footage from circa 35 years ago. Is that why the two of you have gone on Miami Vice tonight with what you're wearing?
Well, you can see the bottom. I've got the super short, tight shorts on. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, looking back at those tapes there, you just see the pride and the Kingston team as well. They're the team. They're the benchmark that we always talk about. They're the legends that we always want to live up to now. And now, can we ever repeat that? Time will tell.
Yeah, well said. And it's always important if that wasn't your generation. Remember, there is all kinds of terrific material over on YouTube. It's important to look back and remember history, remember teams that have blazed trails like that brilliant Kev Cadle Kingston side. Right, the second half coming your way, and we are hoping that both offenses will start to find their groove a little bit more consistently than we saw in the opening 2 periods. So the Riders looking to lock down the number 2 seed. Sheffield looking for their 10th win in 11 games and rolling into the playoffs in fine fettle. Second half about to get underway. So let's get back over to Drew, Ant and Dan.
Indeed, and of course the technical foul on Rob Paternostro after the buzzer of the first half means it will be a free throw for Will Ramsey to take before we start the second half. Leicester, as you say, trying to lock down second place. One win or one loss for Bristol over this weekend would be enough to do it. Sheffield can still get all the way to 5th. 5, 6, 7 still possible for Sheffield, but Sheffield need to win both their games to make sure that Atiba Lyons and his team are taking on Caledonia in the playoffs. Underway then with the second half. Sheffield with a chance to try and tie it up here, having been down by as many as 11 in the first half. Ramsey looking to do exactly that, but he's off the mark. Good hands from Nelson just to break that pass up. Rotino drives in, floats one up and in, and we're level at 32.
Good decision there from Rotino, because he could have made the extra pass and Sheffield Sharks would have, taken a 3, perhaps, contested, and instead he prevails with attacking the rim and gets a floater to go.
Another steal from Nelson, as the pass from Nelson Henry wasn't a great one. And Nelson, he can't quite put his team ahead, but Rotino will.
And Rotino picks up the loose change, and you talked about it earlier. If you're not shooting well, what can you rely on? Your defense. Kieran talked about it at half. That's now 11 uncharacteristic turnovers from the Riders, with 8 being steals as Patrick Whelan gets the party started from the corner there.
First points of the game for Patrick Whelan. Not often you get to the second half saying that.
No, and he's been playing so well as of late as well, coming back from injuries that's hindered his production for a slice of this season.
Look, has it knocked loose, gets it back. That's only his second shot of the game and his first points.
Good sign, though, for him. It's a tough move against Nelson Henry, who's equally as tall as him, and tough play there.
Love out to Whelan in the corner. This time they close him out. Nelson Henry to the hook, and that drops in.
Mr. Reliable there, Nelson Henry. When he gets inside the paint, he's shooting 60% or better, and with his trademark right hook there from 3 feet. Great move.
Cook shovels it out to Ramsey. Round the screen, steps back for 3, and strings it.
It's a big one as well, Ramsey. And we've seen him have some big games in this league. He's a guy that was a exciting college player, guy shot in the NBA G League, and now he services and
Loving response with his third 3 of the game. He's up to 15.
And Mark Levin picks up where he left off in the first half, calms the troops where he hits his third 3 of the night. A little miscommunication there from Cook and Saeed Nelson.
Nelson cutting backdoor, and Cook threw it to where he was. Love dumps it off underneath. I think Cook got a piece of that. Ball's on the floor. Away comes Ramsey, and he will float it up and in.
Oh, he made it look easy as well. It was a half-speed sort of offensive break there by himself.
Love loses the ball, and Pipkin says thank you very much.
Careless with a basketball. Riders with 3 early turnovers in this quarter alone, and Sheffield Sharks profiting.
Fouls on the floor, that won't count.
And again, that's the 9th steal from the Sheffield Sharks tonight as they continue to get it done on the defensive end of the ball.
Whelan becomes first Leicester player to 2. Nice pass. Pipkin's wide open. Misses the three. Cook keeping it alive. Nelson driving in. Foul is on Love.
It's good work inside for Bennett Cook on both ends of the floor. He's contesting shots, making things a bit difficult, more difficult now interiorly for the Leicester Riders, but also he's batting those balls away, getting his team second chance opportunities.
Just overwheeling into Ramsey's hands. Ramsey down to Cook, but the ball's lost and Love comes away with it. Love going quickly. Love used it straight for the lane.
And that was a great burst as Love shows the change of speed there in transition. Nice strong move and strong finish.
You see him survey the options too, and he goes himself, and another basket there. Sheffield Sharks.
Sheffield going blow for blow here with Leicester. 42-43 the score. They've beaten them a couple of times this year, the Sharks. Riders holding the lead in the head-to-head in the league, but of course the Sharks beat them in the trophy here.
Well, you're only as good as your last game, right? The Sharks have got a 2-game run on the Riders. The last 2 games they've won. The only 2 they've won ever in a row since 2011. That was before my time. That was a long time ago.
Was a long time ago.
Couldn't allow that down on my shift. To spoil the party for Mike Tuck and his boys.
Nice pass, and Nelson Henry with the lay-in.
Nice little cut there from Nelson Henry. Receives a little pocket pass and finishes high off the glass with the left hand.
Well, both teams utilizing their big guys now and getting some offensive production out of Nelson Henry and Bennett Cook.
Pipkins tosses it in. It's literally score for score here.
And that is a tough shot when you talk about the floater from 10 feet. And you said Ramsey made it look easy, but Pipkins there made it look even easier.
Love, not quite. Ball is loose. Tipped back by Nelson Henry. It's on the floor. Sheffield come away with it, and there's a foul on Jackson.
Excellent foul as well, because had he not fouled there, that ball was going to Darrell Ramsey, who was going to lay it up. Great competitive nature as well, but both teams, these are 2 teams playing. Both, of course, have already qualified for the playoffs, and both teams, of course, can finish higher. But good competitive nature there. Very different to the game I saw last night on the British Basketball League. Fourth quarter was competitive.
Well, that was the game where Newcastle won in Glasgow to keep the race for 8th alive, and it looks like going all the way to the final day of the season. Delpesh underneath is fouled, but he can't convert.
And that's a good foul there by the Leicester Riders, as Delpesh is currently 0 for 3 from the free throw line, and the last thing you want to give him is a easy basket, which also fuels an individual's confidence.
You want Delpesh to just compose himself there as well. When he catches the basketball, we've all been there before. You mentally score the ball before you actually shoot it, and you just want him to take a quarter of a second there just to compose himself, because that's and 1 territory for him then.
Well, he makes his first free throw of the game. And he makes them both. Wow. McKenzie behind the back. Kicks it out. Extra pass for Walsh for 3. Front time, but Loving with the rebound. Loving trying to go to work and scores.
Such a useful scorer, isn't he? He establishes position there, knows he's got a mismatch and size advantage on Ratinho. And his time, composure, soft finish, Mark Loving.
Glasgow Junior steps back. It's a long 2. Easy rebound for Walsh.
Terrific defense by Kemble McKenzie there, forces Glasgow into a tough 2.
Well, Loving Falls short on the shot. He's turning to the referee as if he got caught. Here's Delpesh underneath, and he lays it in.
Good movement there in reaction from Delpesh. Unfortunate deflection there from Welsh. Landed in the area of Delpesh, who reacted first and finished.
Sheffield with their biggest lead of the game at 5. Walsh finding a scene where there didn't look to be one.
We talked about how this kid has improved this game over the course of the season, and that is his MO, getting to the cup where he cups the ball and finishes strong.
Nichols under all sorts of pressure from Loving. Whelan back to Loving. Cross court to McKenzie for 3. Got it! All string, Kimball McKenzie ties again at 51.
Excellent offense there. They were looking to create a lot of action there on the right side of the court, but it's that skip pass to Mark Loving, which was on the money. And Kimball McKenzie, nothing but net.
Well, blink of an eye, Leicester have levelled the game at 51, having moments ago been down by 5 points apiece. We talked about the big guys maybe coming to the fore a little bit more here in the second half, getting a few more touches. Both play roughly half the game, but make the most of the minutes they're out on court.
They do, and both of these guys have a big game in them as well, so their numbers look underwhelming at times. 10 points a game for Bennett, 8 points down, 8 points a game is about 4 points down on Nelson averages. He was 12 points per game last year, but what they do is they shoot high percentages, so when teams are struggling, it's really a nice luxury to have a 6'11" centre that you can dump the ball down to in the post and then get a high percentage shot around the rim.
Both got finesse finishes as well, Drew.
Yeah, and like you talked about, the game has changed and evolved where it's about the three-point shot. But you need that safety blanket. As we move into the playoffs, the game begins to slow down. The possessions begin to lessen. And you need that guy that you can throw the ball to who can give you that bucket when things get tough in the nitty-gritty of the playoffs.
Who would have thought we would ever be having a conversation saying the big guys are going to be extinct? Everyone needs to shoot step-back threes now. You got 7-foot guys dribbling between their legs and shooting threes. I don't know. I don't know if I could have survived this evolution.
Well, I was watching an England Commonwealth game from 1983 earlier this week. There's no three-point line, none of this long-range shooting malarkey. Get to the basket. Give it to the big guy. Of course, the big guy in them days was about 6'5". Stolen away by Leicester. McKenzie to the finger. Oh, beautiful.
Now McKenzie playing with so much confidence this season as the Leicester Riders use their defense to create offense, and McKenzie gets to the basket and does the rest.
'80s finger roll there.
Yeah, it was. Nichols spinning baseline, and that is the 5th foul of the quarter. All of them on Leicester, so it'll be 2 free throws.
And if you're
also the 3rd on Whelan.
I was just going to say, when you're in this position, you want to continue to be aggressive. And for the Sheffield Sharks, who haven't gotten to the free throw line often tonight, only 8 times, with that 3-headed guard monster, I'll be looking to put my head down, everything to the basket, put pressure on that Leicester Riders defense.
I don't know who this plays in the favor of as well. We're seeing another hard-fought close contest, between these two clubs. Do they want to meet each other in the playoffs? I mean, will either team willingly want to meet the other one in the playoffs? I think the answer to that question is no.
Well, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So all it's going to do is prepare you for the mighty London Lions at the end.
You'd want an easy one in the first round, though, Drew. You want to go
Where's the
first
easy
round.
one, though? Who's the easy one?
Exactly.
Manchester instead? McKenzie is blocked by Nichols, but illegally so.
But I don't feel like either team feel like this is an easy matchup for either. I mean, again, this could be a point where it's going to be a 2-2 split. If Sheffield Sharks win this, it's 2-2 in the series, and there's very little between these two clubs, and sometimes you just have that. You have a matchup in a season where there's very, very little in it.
Well, and when I was young, I used to get to the clubs around 11 and 12 o'clock, but I've gotten older now. Let's get this party started at 8 o'clock. Let's get this thing kicked off in the first round. What are we waiting for?
Sure, I think we should fire up the barbecue. Let's start at midday. We'll be in bed by 8, mate.
Give me some sun and I'm all over it, baby.
Well, see, just go take it back to the basketball for a second. It's 2-1 in the Bristol head with Sheffield, so that could be 2-2 as well. And Caledonia beat Sheffield 3-1, so if they get to 5th, they're going against the team that they actually lost to. That's a high pass and stepped out of bounds as a result of it. So I don't think there is an easy one out.
No, you're right, Ian. You're right. Let's switch the focus back onto the basketball. We're close to summertime here, and great call from the referee. You can see the heels. I said that we had some superb refereeing team today, and they're catching everything.
Love, nice pass, good head fake, patient from Adekoya.
And that's one thing Love has done since his introduction to the Leicester Riders, feeding the needy as he gets to the paint and feed Adekoya for 2.
Well, Leicester were 46-51 down. Well, I was about to say they're now 5 points up, but not anymore.
Really good sign here for Sharks and Nelson finding his flow again. He's going to be a offensive weapon they're going to have to rely on at times in the playoffs.
Well, the shot clock is on, but the differential between it and the game is such that Leicester can run this one down to the third quarter buzzer. Love turns the corner, has a lane, kicks out to McKenzie for 3, in and out. Walsh on the offensive rebound, keeps it in, but Adekoya doesn't get it off in time. And that will do it for a third quarter that ebbed and flowed. Sheffield led by as many as 5 in this period, but Leicester have pegged them back, and we'll go into the fourth quarter with Leicester 2 points in front. Which way this is going, we don't know. Find out with the fourth quarter after this. Welcome back to the Morningside Arena in Leicester. 10 minutes to play. 2 points between Leicester and Sheffield. Leicester trying to seal second spot. Sheffield trying to edge closer to 5th spot. in the final standings and in the seedings for the playoffs. Great block by Cook, but well, I was about to say Leicester still have it, but Adekoya could not find Walsh on the rebound.
And a positive start from the Sheffield Shark defense there, containing Kimball McKenzie there. Great block, and then regaining possession.
Make some noise for your Riders on defense!
Nelson trying to go through the legs, loses the ball. Walsh has McKenzie with it. Back to Loving, to the finger roll, and one for Mark Loving.
Smart play from the guards, good sharing, good spacing of the basketball, and the trailing athletic 6'7". Mark Loving. Evan Walsh, good decision here, and that's a great way to use their numbers advantage. 3-on-2 there, and one finish.
And we call that beautiful basketball there in transition. The ball only hit the floor 2 times as Walsh gave it up to his teammate, who then fed Mark Loving on the trail as he takes advantage of the and-one opportunity.
20 points now for Mark Loving. Comfortably the game's leading scorer, twice the next highest. Here's Cook trying to go to work against Adekoya, who swiped down, presumably at the ball. All he caught was the top of Cook's head.
Oh, goodness me. I feel like I heard that from here. That was a monstrous slap down there. Wow. You can't do that in boxing. You're not allowed to hit the back of the head in boxing.
He's normally very accurate with his swipes, Adekoya. Not that time. No, Cook almost falls into the lane there. The shooter is not allowed to step over the line until the ball's gone, well, hit the ring or gone in.
Andrew Dansky may have to give him a 10-second count here. He's coming for that blow.
Right. That one's short. Love. Around to Walsh. Walsh driving to the rim. Overcooks it. Adekoya, can he keep it alive? Yes, he can. Great hustle. It's got to go up. It has to be shot. It is shot and it's off the mark. 24-second violation.
It's another good defensive structure from Sharks, and Riders were able to get themselves another opportunity there, but as you say, Dan, the shot clock was very minimal by the time Carrington Love got the ball in his hands. That's a grenade pass. He has to try and make something happen. It was mission impossible for him on that occasion.
Glasgow looking to attack, gets into the key. That's a beautiful shot.
Wow, it really is. Sized up the defender, and Kimball McKenzie. Nice pull-up, heavily contested, but it didn't matter. Nelson, that's what knocks it down.
Well, Cook called for the foul. There was a collision between he and Adekoya, and it goes against the Sheffield man. Foul number 3 on Cook. And if you've been not sure about that one.
No, I don't think Bennett Cook is either. It was one of those ones.
McKenzie rolling to the basket is Nelson Henry, who's fouled by Ramsey.
I don't know. I like that foul though. If I'm Ramsey,
that's the problem.
Oh, I see.
And that's a trip to the bench for him with Pipkins returning. Cook also sitting down with Delpesh into the game.
And if you've been paying attention to this matchup this season, the games have been played in the 70s with great defensive efforts from both teams.
Well, to the Lions is livid on the sidelines. He saw that play coming and his players didn't. Nelson Henry with the lay-in.
And we've seen that play many times from the Leicester Riders, and from the Sheffield Sharks perspective, that's just way too easy.
Nelson back to Glasgow. 3 on the shot clock. Glasgow to the finger roll, in off the glass, and he's fouled by Walsh. The basket will count.
Rodney Glasgow Jr., 2 difficult shots in a row. First with a pull-up jump shot. Now on this time, his trickery gets him a lane. Tough right-hand finish there with the contact.
And on the scouting report, it does say send Rodney Glasgow to his right hand, which you don't see very often. But sometimes big-time players step up in big-time moments. Great play there by Rodney Glasgow.
Cuts it back to a 1-point game. McKenzie is pushed by Nelson. Will that count? Referees are looking at each other. Nelson's arguing he's on the floor. The referees are going to have a little discussion about it, and it will be no basket. But it will be 2 shots. So I'm assuming it must be he's fouled and travels after the foul, so therefore the basket can't count, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not a professional lip reader there, but Kimball McKenzie says, I traveled.
And that's great refereeing there. The guys huddle up, talk about it. And looks like they got the call right.
McKenzie trying to become the 3rd Leicester player into double figures. Oh, he's missed another one. That's 2 tonight. That 90% is sailing out away from him, I think. Oh, a slip there from Nelson. And he fouls trying to get the ball back.
That wasn't a great foul. More out of frustration, because that'll be the 15th foul now for Sheffield Sharks, which means Leicester Riders will get a trip to the free throw line.
It's very early in the quarter to be on 5 fouls.
A lot of clock left, but that move in the split a couple of possessions ago, to me looks like a guy that's been out the lineup just trying to find his rhythm and doesn't have his legs up under him and forcing, so very uncharacteristic from Saeed Nelson.
Well, it's finished in Bristol. The Flyers 87, Surrey 70. So they're doing their bit in terms of trying to get to 2nd, but they need Leicester to lose here. And Leicester are winning here. It finished in London as well, 96-62. So the 8th and final playoff place will be decided in a head-to-head, a play-in game. Once again, Newcastle and Plymouth battling it out. Plymouth won the battle last year. Who'll win the battle on Sunday?
Just what the doctor ordered. We got a great finale here in the British Basketball League on a final day.
Tino didn't quite get there in time, so... Oh, there was a signal of 12 there. I think it means 9 rather than 12. But just as you predicted last night, Drew, as well, that he was going to go down to that.
I was a guy that was using my head while you were using the statistics. And
it's true. It's true.
We will be down in Plymouth where the Newcastle Eagles must overcome a 9-point game. We've done it before.
Yep.
We were down 11 against the Leicester Riders in the first round of the playoffs, and 13, if I remember correctly.
I think that was the last time Leicester didn't finish in the top 2.
Yeah.
13-14. You played them in the semi-finals. It was the year you played, was it Worcester and Dyer Taylor and that's correct. In the final?
Yep, that's absolutely correct. We were down by 11.
Down by a lot more than that in the 4th quarter at Loughborough, and you had a bit of a run to get it to 11, if I remember right.
We had a guy named Paul Gauss. We were down by 20, and he rallied the troops single-handedly, got down to 11, came home. We came out very, very aggressive, and it came down to a last final shot, which the Leicester Riders missed.
Was it an overtime game as well? Was it the second leg, or was it just in regulation?
We won by 1.
And you've not joined in that conversation, I noticed. Your absence there.
I was absent in the season 2 of a knee injury.
Delpesh misses everything. Jackson in the corner for three, knocks it down. Zach Jackson had a relatively quiet night by his standards, but a big shot.
Well, how many times have you said that? Big shot, Zach Jackson. He has been that guy this year on the Leicester Riders team. Both ends of the floor. Mass improvement of last year. Star player status.
Well, Rotino gets 2 back for Sheffield, but Leicester still have a 7-point cushion here with less than 6 minutes to play. Love turns the corner, back out to Jackson. Steps into the free throw line, back iron.
And that's Zach Jackson's spot right there. Great look. Sheffield Sharks very fortunate.
Nichols driving hard, too strong on the layup though.
It's a shot you expect him to make. He's done the hard part. He's created and got himself to the rim. He has the size advantage over Whelan, but can't finish.
Love driving in, foul court, and Love will go to the free throw line for 2. He's got a very deceptive change of pace, Carrington Love.
Yeah, he does. He's so good at this as well. Look at him. He's got in the short corner there, double team, nowhere to go, but he still finds his teammate open. He gets so many open shots for his teammates. That's remarkable. He's got 6 assists again today, which is bang on his average. Incredible.
And you're right, Dan. That first step is very quick. That's something that I haven't seen out of him. And again, we talked about him missing half of the season, and it takes a while to get your legs under you. And he looks like a completely different player offensively.
He almost has like a hop or a little shimmy or something, and then he goes.
Yeah, he's bouncy. We call it herky-jerky. Keep the defense on their toes. And
God, you guys have a translator, Dan.
Herky-jerky. No, that's a well-known phrase. Herky-jerky. I'm with you on that, Drew.
Fresh out of Texas.
Ant was a Ford. He wouldn't know nothing about that.
Herky-jerky.
We've got too many of those herky-jerkies in Plymouth, I can tell you that.
Free throw shooting. A bit herky-jerky. Whelan getting to the rim, and that's going to be foul number 4, I think, on Cook.
Yeah, the Sharks are in trouble here. Leicester Riders been in the bonus and 7-minute mark, and so that means every time you hear the whistle blown, the Leicester Riders will go to the free throw line, where they are the best in the British Basketball League at knocking down free throws.
Right on cue.
I set it up and everything. Come on, Pat.
Well, there has been some uncharacteristic misses in this building tonight. Even a 90% free throw shooter, and Kimball McKenzie has missed a couple. So some rare bits of footage here today at the Morningside Arena. And we were just commenting on how quickly this game was going. Fouls rack up. Strap in, guys. We're in for a longer finish.
Nelson back to Rotino. Nichols, good first step, gets him to the rim.
That was better from Nichols. There, his move to the rim was had so much more intent, and the finish a lot more aggressive there.
Loving to the fall away. He's caught, and it'll be a 3-point play.
Wow, Mark Loving just so controlled, so composed. Gets to his spots where he knows he can rise over the smaller 6'6" frame of Kipper Nichols and heads to the line where he has a chance to add to it.
Mark Loving, 22 points personal for him, and that guy highly sought after his spell at Ohio State, one of the big powerhouses in NCAA American college basketball.
Also in high school, coming out Mr. Basketball, which means he's the best player in the entire state, an award that LeBron James has won as well.
Not bad company, huh?
Not bad at all.
It's Delpesh with the two-handed jab.
Delpesh has been going to work there in the background. 12 points personal now for him.
Oh, Love all the way to the basket, doesn't score, and it came off Nelson Henry last.
And a missed opportunity there from Love, and he knows it as he shakes his head. And right off the fingertips of Nelson Henry.
Nelson lobbing it to Delpesh. Really acrobatic trying to finish there, but couldn't quite get it to go.
That's one that I'm sure he would run back as well. And that goes back to the composure thing again. He's going to catch that there. He's the strongest player on court. Gather yourself for half a second and then go back up strong.
Well, Love loses the ball, but it ends up in Whelan's hands. Rebound for Nelson Henry. Can't convert. Delpesh comes down with it. Is it a foul? It's a foul on Nelson Henry.
Well, wasn't a lot in there, was it? There was two big guys going after the basketball, but the actual momentum, I think, that made Delpesh go out of bounds didn't seem to be from Nelson Henry.
I feel like Sheffield need a score here. There's still 2:28 to go, a lot of time. But if they can get it down to, you get a 3-point play or a 3 down to 5. It's right in the balance, so you don't get a score. Let's come down, it's a double-figure game. Nelson trying to get 2. Off the mark, realized it, went after his own rebound and got it. Nelson round the screen to the mid-range. This time he finds the bottom of the net. And Rob Paternoster will call a timeout.
He uses that strong screen set by Delpesh well and was able to get some space inside there and knock down the jump shot. And Sharks have let a couple of these opportunities go, but on that occasion they were able to score the ball, and 6-point game makes it a little bit more interesting now and realistic for the Sharks.
Well, if Sheffield don't win today, it's not the end of 5th place for them, because if Cheshire were to lose to Leicester and Sheffield were to beat Bristol and Manchester were to lose to Surrey, they could still get to 5, but that's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes. If they do lose here, they're more likely to end up in 7th, but it could still happen for them at 5th.
Yeah, this time of year you like to be in control of your own destiny. So if the Sheffield Sharks can't get it done tonight, as you mentioned, a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas, and at the end of the day, you just play out the season. As you mentioned there before, so much parity in this league, and it doesn't matter who you line up in front of. It's going to be a tough matchup.
It's a long night for some in the crowd, isn't it?
I was going to say the game is not that bad.
The end of a school week. You don't know tired like the end of a school week. That's what it is. Just over 2 to go. Leicester leading by 6. Trying to make it a 3-possession game here with Jackson driving to the rim. Swipe down from Delpesh will send him to the line.
And that's exactly what you want. You want something positively going towards the rim, and you want anything out of the timeout. You don't want to go an empty possession straight after the timeout. And Zach Jackson, excellent use here, clearly gets fouled. Delpesh does a good enough job to foul him hard enough not to get an and 1 for Jack Jackson.
Cook is going to return to the game for Delpesh. 12 points and 4 rebounds for Marcus Delpesh.
Yeah, good game from him. I think he's had a solid game. There's a couple opportunities, of course, he would want back, but he's been an impactful player down low for the Sharks today.
Nelson trying to create, finds Nichols. Pipkins fouled by Jackson. That will be 2 free throws because Leicester are over the limit. 4th on Jackson as well. Well, they're going offense-defense by the looks of it. Sheffield with Delpesh and Cook. A little message from Ritinho from his coach, which is running around telling everybody, which usually precedes a full court press.
Good interpretation from you there, Routledge. He's looking to try and switch things up defensively, perhaps force Leicester Riders into making errors.
Well, they get it to their point guard, who gets it into the front court. Now he'll back out and run some clock. Loving almost loses the dribble. Shot clock getting low. Creates some room for the shot. Misses it though. Leicester take 24 seconds off the clock, but they don't move the scoreboard. Pipkins with the quick 2, and he cuts it to 4.
It needed to be quick, and he got a good screen there from Delpesh. That's why Team Alliance wants him in there for offense. And Pipkins knocks it down.
Well, big stop here for Sheffield if they can get it going into the final minute. Leicester again running clock, but they need a score at the end of it. Love turns the corner, kicks out to Jackson. Jackson falling over, gets it away. Back iron, Sheffield get the stop. Chance to make it a one-possession game. Pipkins back out. Nichols, huge shot for 3. Back iron, that was the shot.
Wow, that goes down. That makes it a 3-point game. Oh, excuse me, a 1-point game even. But it doesn't. It back rims and Riders secure the defensive rebound. Still time though, Dan.
Still, yeah, 32 seconds. Worst case scenario, you're down 6. I was talking about that 1983 game. You got up 4 with a minute to go. You'd won the game. That's one of the advances of the 3-point line, and the shot clock changes over the years. Even if this goes in, Sheffield's still very much in this one. They probably need a 3 here, but a quick 2 would maybe do. It's got to be quick, though. Will Atiba call a timeout? Yes, he will. So Team Alliance will call a timeout to advance the ball into the front court so that they make the most of these last 32 seconds, because obviously you can maybe even get a catch and shoot or a 1 dribble, so you can get a score on the board within 3-4 seconds, whereas if you take it in the backcourt, it's going to take you 5-6 seconds. You have got all that time to be playing with.
No, I guess the only advantage you'd have in the backcourt is if you've got guys on the court who are good downhill. So, you know, your Glasgow juniors, your Pipkins fast guards that can attack a defense, you know, before they can realise how to stop it. But no, I think the logical choice here is going to be half court. Time now is not against them. They want to look for a quick shot, a quick score, of course, but a quick shot, because you always got to have the opportunity to grab an offensive rebound and get another look at it as well. But what you don't want to be doing is wasting time trying to get a great look. It just has to be a good shot here.
Well, if you get one at the rim in 2 or 3 seconds, that is okay. A 3 would be really nice, though, for Sheffield here. For sure, Coach Paternoster will be saying no 3s, anything but 3s here. Well, as predicted, advance to the front court. Sheffield must score here, though. Got to get it in first. Here's Glasgow. They were looking for Cook, but that wasn't there. So Glasgow goes in. Stolen away. Adekoya, as he does so often. How many times have we seen late in a game Adekoya come up with a play like that?
And it's a risky one as well, Dan. If he gets it wrong, it's a foul, and Sheffield Sharks go to the free throw line. But he doesn't get it wrong. He gets it right on the money, steals the ball, and that could be a game-winning play.
Well, he did it here a couple of weeks ago against Plymouth. 3-point game. Plymouth needed a 3. They had the ball. Adekoya just took it off them. He's got to make 1 free throw, and that will probably ice it now for Leicester. So Leicester yet again will finish in the top 2, as they have every year since 2014. They had a couple of top 2 finishes before that as well, but just relentless consistency for Rob Paternoster and his team. Glasgow for 3, maybe it's not done yet. Rodney Glasgow with the triple, and Rob Paternoster is going to call a timeout because he's going to have to advance the ball here. He doesn't want to lose it in the backcourt.
It's never over until it's over. We've seen some remarkable things over the years, but Sheffield Sharks will not die.
Well, Leicester presumably will advance the ball into the front court. The one advantage of keeping it in the backcourt in this situation for Leicester is you can run the baseline on a made score, whereas if it goes into the front court, you have to inbound it from where you're positioned, which makes it a little easier after this Glasgow 3. But really, Leicester just have to find a red shirt here. You get the ball in, wait for the foul, and you're okay. What they can't afford is a 5-second violation or a turnover on a pass.
Exactly, and that's what Sheffield Sharks are going to have to create now. Is going to have to create the Riders into making errors here. It's going to be high pressure, ball denial, and they're going to have to take a little bit of a gamble here because they're going to leave themselves exposed when they're looking to steal the basketball.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Mackenzie's going to come off a couple of the screens to get the ball.
Well, he's set up that way. Far side court. Wheeler going off the first couple. As you say that,
there we go.
Who
knew? Who knew? Apart from anybody who's watched Leicester play this season, and indeed last, because that is a play they run regularly. And as I say, he started the game shooting, as the first one goes in, shooting close to 91% for the season. He's missed a couple today, but he makes no mistakes on those. And Atiba Lyons, is he calling a timeout? He is. Atiba is going to call a timeout now to make it, again, presumably to advance the ball. This is Atiba's last timeout, so it's got to be, I mean, they are in must be a 3 territory here.
Oh, no other option. Time is even more so against them now. 15 seconds. They hit a quick 3. Of course, they'll take this to 4. But it's still a tall order. Again, they're in a position where they need errors now for the Leicester Riders. So if they can force them into making them, then of course they'll have an opportunity here to open this game up.
Well, I've just done the quick maths on Kimball Mackenzie. He's now below 90% for the season, 89.93. So he's going to need to make some on Sunday if he wants that 90% mark for the season.
Wow, Routledge, you can't give him a roundup on that.
You can, but it doesn't.
89.93.
Yeah. It's not enough for 90. You have to round. You can't take. You've got to at least have 1 decimal in there. I'd have 2. Anyway, here we go. Here's Glasgow. Well, he goes to the rim instead. He misses. That's tipped down. It'll go out, but no, it won't. It's stolen by Jackson, and Jackson will put the exclamation point on the victory for the Leicester Riders, who guarantee themselves second seeding in the playoffs.
It went for a quick score. It doesn't work out, and Zach Jackson, open floor for the full stop.
Well, the Leicester Riders have won 85-76. It was a hard-fought game between 2 evenly matched teams, and we may see these again in the not too distant future going head to head. It's still a possibility that these could meet in the first round, in the quarterfinals of the playoffs. Sheffield will still have something to say about that because they go to Bristol and they can move up higher than 7th seed. But, well, it'll be a hell of a matchup if they do get there. But, as I say, Sheffield still got to play Bristol and try and rise a little higher up the table.
Well, we've seen some crackers cracking fixtures of these two clubs playing this year, and I wouldn't be disappointed if we saw a quarter-final matchup between these two, because I know what would get high intensity, a defensively hard-fought contest between these two clubs, filled with talented rosters, but I don't know if either of these two teams want to play each other.
Well, quite a ball game here, and you can see the three-point shots didn't really fall at the usual clip, and Sheffield made Rue shooting 60% from the free throw line as well, but the steals that Sheffield got, forcing the turnovers, really did help them. Leicester probably matched that up in the end. Well, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Another great game from Mark Loving. He's with Drew.
You heard the numbers there. You can tell in your stellar play this season. What did you channel for this huge performance tonight?
This is a big game for us. We dropped 2 games to them, one at their place, one here at home, and it kind of left a bad feeling. But there was a little energy coming into this game, a little bit of extra motivation, and I'm happy we were able to pull it out.
And what was it about the job that your team did defensively that impressed you tonight?
We stuck together. We had a few miscommunications, but we gathered together, communicated on the sideline, and made our adjustments, and it worked out for us.
And with the playoffs looming and the title up for grabs, what part of your game do the Riders need to be firing on all cylinders?
I feel like our defense sometimes ignites our offense. And when there's a drought in our offense, I feel like our defense can take it to the next level, and hopefully we can get a run going.
Big night. Congratulations on second place. Thanks for your time, Mark. Appreciate it.
So a double-double for Mark Loving, 25 points, 10 boards, dropped some big threes early on, Kieran, and ultimately he was the X factor tonight.
Yeah, he was the player when everybody else was, went a little bit cold. He was consistent and continued his scoring. He carried the load for the Leicester Riders and essentially took them over the edge.
We used the word consistent when we talked about him at the top of the show. I think probably every single Leicester game we've done this season, that is the word that is applied to it. He is so even keel, isn't he?
He definitely is. He stays even keel at all times. But when things are going good, when things are going bad, he finds a way to score. So Zach Jackson, Mark Loving, both consistent players and really stepped up when they needed to.
Now, as you were watching the MVP rap for Mark Loving, this man was talking to a packed arena here. Darian Nelson-Henry, the Riders skipper. Some big news for the benefit of everyone watching at home. What have you just told all the fans inside Morningside?
Yeah, I've officially announced my retirement for next season. Obviously, it was a tough decision, and it's been one that I've been thinking about for a long time. But I think it's about that stage in my life where I'm ready to take the next step and focus on other things, focus on my family and getting married this summer, and we got big moves coming in the future, so yeah.
Well, on that, congratulations getting married this summer. It is, I guess, Kieran, a huge decision for any athlete to know when to hang them up, when's the right time.
And that's it. There's no time stamp of saying you're 35, you're 40 now. You get out of the game. So what was going through your head? Has it been mixed emotions throughout the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, absolutely mixed emotions. I'm so thankful for Riders for setting me up for the future and setting me up with the opportunity. I got my master's from Loughborough University. I finally graduated, and I think it's about that time in my career where I start looking for other horizons and use the tools that I've been given through basketball to progress my future. And with the brakes starting to fall off the car, it becomes about time to look towards less physical labor.
But you still got a bit of business to take care of course, before you do walk away. Big win tonight, locked in the number 2 seed. The Riders, as we expected, are going to be a dangerous proposition in the playoffs, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we pride ourselves on. We want to be the strongest at the end of the season, and I think we're looking in good form right now. Obviously, we're not content. We haven't won anything yet this year, so there's one left on the table, and we're trying to go grab it.
You're talking about that amongst the camp, amongst the players, a team that is so used to success. You're the reigning champions. You're talking about the fact that it's playoffs or bust in terms of silverware this season.
Yeah, I mean, the club has a rich pedigree, and honestly, we're a little disappointed that we haven't grabbed one yet. Obviously, we made the cup final in in Birmingham, and we let one slide in the trophy final, or leading up to the trophy final. So we're not satisfied. We're not particularly pleased, to be honest, and we're going to give everything we got to that last final push.
We're going to be enjoying seeing you in the playoffs. Congratulations, and congratulations on a terrific career.
Thank you.
Darian Nelson-Henry, shake hands definitely, and I'll grab that as well. The Leicester skipper, brilliant career, and the fans here gave him a terrific send-off. But of course, as Darian suggested, that isn't all she wrote as far as Riders basketball is concerned this season, rolling into the playoffs, locking down the number 2 seed. Let's hear from their head coach, Rob Paternoster. He's with Drew.
Coach, you guys continue to ride that momentum train. 9 wins out of your last 11. How would you sum up that performance?
Yeah, gritty, really. I mean, it was a gritty game. That's what's going to happen with Sheffield. They played different than everybody else. I thought the first half, look up at the scoreboard, 30s. We're in the 30s. But I thought the second half, offensively, we really got it going. But more importantly, I thought defensive end in the fourth quarter, we were as good as any time in the game.
Yeah, and unusually offensive struggles tonight, but as you mentioned there, you guys got it done defensively. Where have you guys improved on the defensive side of the ball?
Just keep working, watching video, keep talking about different things, and trying to know your opponent better and better and better. You get to this stage of the season, heading to the playoffs, you should know your opponents really well. Played with these guys a lot of times, so it's a mental and physical thing, and you just got to come up big in the late in the game.
And Coach, you've been there before. Darian just announcing his retirement live on Sky Sports. What has he meant to this franchise over the last couple of years?
He's been awesome. I mean, a guy that size, with that skill, he's has the hardware to prove it both individually and as a team. But just a great guy to have in the locker room, a great teammate, and he's done so much here for the community. We wish him well, and we're going to miss him.
And you guys are trajectorying in the right direction. Good luck in the playoffs, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely right, Drew. They are trending in the right direction, locking down the number 2 seed, and it means they're either going to play Sheffield again or Manchester, and that's going to be a dangerous game for them.
I'm looking at these playoff matchups. It's dangerous for everybody. I have no idea what to expect.
One of the other players we want to focus on was Carrington Love, because he's a player, as we discussed at the top of the show, brought in this season to drive the offense at tricky times, and that's exactly what we saw tonight. He ended up with 9 points, but he had 6 dishes, and in a fractious, scrappy game, he's the kind of player that can generate that cohesion offensively.
Yeah, and he's a smart player too. You can see he knows how to play basketball. The one thing that's impressed me with his fitness levels have improved as the season's progressed. So again, tough proposition in these playoffs.
Sheffield will look at this, a 9-point deficit. Is that a fair reflection, a fair result?
Well, I looked at the free throw attempts that Leicester Riders took today. Got a lot of calls going down that way. They were aggressive going to the basket, and Sheffield was fouling them. They missed a couple easy ones, missed a couple of 3-point shots. I think Sheffield Sharks will take a lot from this game and still have that confidence that they know that they are a force to reckon with within these playoffs.
At half-time we were talking about the much vaunted all-new Sheffield offense that hadn't really materialised, Jalen Pitkins notwithstanding, and even with Jalen we said it was a kind of hit and miss first half, but it started to find its groove in the second half, and Saeed Nelson in particular, who's had some injury issues in recent weeks, so they were watching his minutes, of course, this evening on court, but in the time that he did get, he demonstrated why he's one of the most electric players in the BBL right now.
Exactly, really positive spark to this team. We're talking about his offense. Defensively, the steals he was picking up, like I said, he was mischievous, really kind of working both ends of the court. So again, another player, his fitness will get to that level to be a really player to look forward with in this playoff.
All right, let's hear what his coach had to say about his performance. Atiba Lions is courtside with Drew.
Coach, back and forth all night. How was the Riders able to slip away there late in the fourth?
I think we didn't do a very good job executing consistently. Working side back in, we've kind of had a little bit of teething issues, just getting them back in that flow and getting our timing down. I thought we saw that a lot tonight where we just didn't have the right execution at the right time sometimes. But hopefully tonight we've kind of corrected that stuff. We got film to get better with it.
Yeah, no reason to hang your heads. Very few have come here and been successful. But what's important as you look forward to your season finale, but more importantly, the playoffs?
like I said, we just got to get playing to our strengths again. We played a little bit too frenetic in the first quarter, especially the first 5 minutes, where I think we've been doing a good job coming out on teams early and building leads and establishing ourselves. Tonight we didn't do that, and I think that's the difference.
Well, finally, Darian Nelson-Henry just announced his retirement there on Sky Sports. Just from your perspective as an opposition, how important has he meant to the Riders organization, but more importantly, the league?
Yeah, well, I think he's been an anchor for them. You can tell he's a very heady, smart, big guy. I could tell Rob has a lot of trust in him, making adjustments on the fly and communicating leadership skills. And for the league, that consistent face from a team that's won a lot of championships, it'll be missed, I'm sure. But, he's had a good run.
Coach, thanks for your time, and we will see you in the playoffs.
On that, Darian Nelson-Henry, last word on him from you. I mean, he's obviously going to be a massive loss. As we heard from Coach Paternoster, he's such a big presence around the organisation, around the city. They're going to miss him.
Yeah, definitely. I've had the, been fortunate enough to be around Darian Nelson-Henry. He's a great leader. I love positive role model. I see him as one of those, dual career, excelling in the classroom as well as on the basketball court. So he will be missed, but I expect big things from him off the court as he transitions.
I guess you're a role model, Kieran, for players blazing a trail with a second career. So I'm sure he's there keeping notes and taking notes of that. Right, play of the day. Well, there can only be one winner here. Jalen Pipkins laying it down. Talk us through this one, Kieran.
I have to say this. Drives baseline. That was absolutely disgusting.
It doesn't matter what came immediately after that, because you've got this one in the tank. Jalen Pipkins definitely going to be making plays of the week, and I think getting at least 2 disgusting from Kieran Achara in one show, which is an accolade in itself. So even though Sheffield didn't get it done tonight, doesn't matter. They are making the playoffs. We'll look at the table in a moment. Let's remind ourselves of the results from the rest of the BBL. Despite that big win for Bristol, it won't make a difference as far as their seeding is concerned, because Leicester's win means they've locked down that number 2 spot. Bristol will sit 3rd. London did Newcastle a favour and then some. That dominating win over Plymouth means that Plymouth and Newcastle will go to the wire for the number 8 seed, because this is what the table looks like. We know the top 5. They are all locked in. London, Leicester, Bristol in 3rd. Caledonia, we knew were going into the playoffs as 4th seed. And Cheshire now, because of the result tonight, sit and lock in the 5th seed, which means it's either going to be Sheffield or Manchester, 6th and 7th. And of course, Plymouth and Newcastle, Sunday. That game is a play-in game, although Newcastle will need to win it by 9 points or more to get into the playoffs. So, Manchester and Sheffield. The Giants play Surrey. The Sharks play Bristol. That will determine the 6th and 7th spot. Caledonia play London. Cheshire play Leicester. Formalities as far as the league table is concerned. But that 3 p.m. tip, Plymouth City Patriots, Newcastle Eagles, the game that we will all have eyes on, because that one will determine the final playoff seed of this year's BBL Championship. And speaking of which, our first playoff action comes next Sunday, April the 30th. Depending on how it all shakes out on the final Sunday of the season, we will announce which game we're going to be covering, but either way, it's going to be a deciding game as far as the 2 teams in that quarterfinal are concerned. The first of our playoff action as we build up to the playoff final at the O2 later on in May. 5 p.m. We're going to be on Sky Sports Action and, as ever, Sky Sports YouTube. But that's all from us here in Leicester. The current outgoing champions laying down a major marker as far as the playoff battle is concerned. Would anyone back against the Riders going deep in this year's playoffs? I don't think so. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.